Texas said yeehaw and wants to start its own stock exchange, because why not? If there's one thing Texas loves, it's doing things big and doing things differently. Forget about Wall Street, now we're talking about Cowboy Street. The Lone Star State is about to lasso in some stocks, and it's got the financial world buzzing. Now before you start imagining people in cowboy hats and boots trading stocks while riding horses down dusty streets, let's take a step back and ask, why is Texas even doing this? What's wrong with the New York Stock Exchange? Does this mean Elon Musk is going to put his Tesla stock on the Yeehaw 500? Texas is flexing its independence muscles once again. After all, this is the state that was its own republic before it decided to join the US. And let's be honest, they probably still think about leaving from time to time. Now, Texas isn't just thinking about its oil and barbecue empires, it wants to be a player in the world of high finance. The idea behind this Texas Stock Exchange is to create a platform where local companies can raise capital more easily and avoid some of the red tape that comes with listing on the big national exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange or Nasdaq. They want to make it more Texas-friendly, which basically means cutting down on regulations and making it easier for small and medium-sized businesses to go public. Think of it as the Wild West of stock markets, less paperwork and more boots on the ground action. But of course, this begs the question, what kind of companies will be trading on the Texas Stock Exchange? Is this just gonna be a place for local oil companies and barbecue joints to go public? Or is there more to it? First off, if you're thinking this will be like some rodeo-themed version of Wall Street with people yelling buy and sell between gunfights at high noon, you might be disappointed. The Texas Stock Exchange will still be a modern digital trading platform, but you better believe it's going to have that Texas flair. Think about your local Texas startups, tech companies, renewable energy firms, and yes, maybe even a few barbecue chains looking to expand nationally. After all, how many barbecue companies are listed on the New York Stock Exchange? Exactly. Texas needs to fix that. Here's where things get even more interesting. This isn't just a local novelty for Texans to trade their favorite local brands. Texas is betting that other states will want to get in on the action. Right now, businesses in other states have to jump through all kinds of hoops to list on the New York Stock Exchange or Nasdaq, and Texas wants to offer them an easier alternative. Texas boasts one of the most business-friendly environments in the country. I mean, they practically hand you a cowboy hat and a tax break when you cross the state line. It's possible that businesses from other states might choose the Texas Stock Exchange over the traditional ones. Plus, no state income tax means more money in the pockets of investors, and that's an attractive offer. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this just Texas being Texas? Well, kind of. But it's also a legitimate financial move that could shake up the way we think about stock markets in the US. Okay, let's talk about what really matters. Will there be cowboys at this stock exchange? I mean, it's Texas. I'm imagining traders walking into the Texas Stock Exchange with 10-gallon hats, swinging open saloon doors, and making deals over brisket sandwiches. I'll buy 100 shares of that tech company if you throw in a side of ribs. In reality, it's probably going to be a lot more traditional than that. Think suits and ties instead of boots and spurs. But we can still dream, right? And while it's fun to joke about, Texas is actually quite serious about this. They want to make the exchange a hub for innovation, particularly for industries that are booming in the state, like tech, energy, and healthcare. Austin, for instance, has become a tech hotspot, attracting companies like Tesla and Oracle. So it makes sense that Texas wants to keep that momentum going by offering a more accessible platform for startups and mid-sized companies. Now here's the million-dollar question, or should I say $1 billion since we're talking stocks. Will this Texas Stock Exchange actually work? Can Texas really challenge the dominance of New York's financial giants? It's not going to be easy. The New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq have a century-plus head start and an enormous amount of infrastructure, connections, and reputation behind them. Plus, the liquidity and sheer volume of trading that happens on those exchanges is hard to compete with. But Texas has something that Wall Street doesn't. A bunch of AR-15 rifles, an attitude. The state has a reputation for being fiercely independent and doing things its own way. If they can bring that same energy to the stock market and attract enough businesses and investors to make it worth everyone's while, this could actually be a game changer. And there's always the potential for niche markets to grow. The Texas Stock Exchange might not need to compete with New York directly. Instead, it could carve out its own place as the go-to platform for small businesses and startups, especially in sectors that are thriving in Texas, like renewable energy, technology, and naturally, oil. So what's next for the Texas Stock Exchange? Well, if everything goes according to plan, it could be up and running in the next few years. And who knows, maybe one day we'll see the Texas Exchange rivaling Nasdaq, not just in attitude, but in real financial power. In any case, it will be interesting to see how this goes. I'm definitely buying some stocks from the Texas Stock Exchange on day one, just for fun. What do you think? Does it have a chance to succeed? Comment below. Thanks for watching. Click the subscribe and thumbs up buttons before you go.